Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Let's take a quick look at Solana, see what's going on. We're at 165. Just secured some decent profit here, actually a good 28% in 3 days. Also near and Bitcoin in the 30% range for trades we took roughly 2 to 3 days ago. So when I took that short, it felt comfortable just mainly because Bitcoin was reaching its top, and a lot of reasons for that. You've been watching me for a while, you know what happened. This isn't a I told you so, but the whole point of me kind of showing that to you is to A, celebrate the positives there and that you can short Solana with success, but also B, maybe a good consideration to maybe shift gears here and think about a long. And I'll explain more so about what I mean by that. Bitcoin continues to range between 69 and 71,000 roughly. If it can continue to maintain that, I think Solana is due to continue higher. But as per usual, we expect this pullback to occur. It did. Now that it's done, where do we go from here? Is it going to go up? Is it going to go down? What's the deal? Truly, nobody really does know, but we can speculate with a statistical likelihood of either direction, right? Because right now the trend is down, and the overall sense is that it could and should continue lower. But we're coming into this key level support range. We're kind of double bottoming, and there's a few other things as to why the price should, and at the very least, could recover quickly, okay? So we'll talk about that. Left-hand side, Solana last 7 days here worth of liquidation. Not a lot going on here except that shorts got destroyed here, longs got destroyed here, and anybody with leverage over like 10 to 20x is probably having a bad day. That's just kind of how it goes, folks. So again, don't be another statistic. Don't pay the house. You know, the house always wins if you use high leverage. So we've been doing very well with 5x leverage on altcoins and 10x on Bitcoin. It's really as simple as that. Now, when it comes to liquidation here, there's not too much to really note. Let's go ahead and look at the last 12 hours. Actually, this might give us better understanding of where the the closer averages are. We can see a lot of liquidation here. Big surprise at 163, just below the current price point, and upwards of 171 is a big chunk. Okay, so just know that that exists there. That's not super relevant or super important because they're not like massive concentrations. So that's good and bad in most cases. Mostly good here for us because then we understand generally that the price action is likely to recover. And the reason why I say that, first of all, is with our delta here, closer to 1 billion in liquidation delta for shorts. This implies we have way more shorts than longs in the market right now. While this is good, and it's usually best to go with the trend, you have to understand when this goes too high for too long, that you have this recovery or this reversal, so to speak. Now, if you've been watching any of my Bitcoin videos, you'll know that when this liquidation delta, for example, starts to shift gears, then things continue to run in that direction. However, if it stays too high for too long, in this example, Bitcoin had $8 billion in liquidation delta for longs. It's maintained that for about 48 hours. It inevitably pulled back because it couldn't pass that resistance level. So in this case here, if we look at this and we understand that this level here has been trending for about 24 to 48 hours, there's a strong chance we're going to see a reversal to the upside because this key level support, this range at 165, is having trouble getting broken. Okay, and what happens as a result of that? Either A, a relief rally, or B, a continuation higher. Now, if we do take a look at the bigger picture here, and this is just again a spitball by any sense here, nothing official, we can see there's potential head and shoulders here and or just double bottom. Okay, now key takeaway here is that double bottoms don't usually form this way, so I'm not like super sold on this being like the absolute bottom, but it is a fib level, and we do have a lot of confluence here at about 160, such as the previous high, essentially working as a potential new low. Okay, so my speculation is if we do hit 160, that'd be a solid consideration for a long. If we don't, 165 would be a decent average in. Okay, again, that's just the overall sentiment. Now let's talk about this here. And keep in mind, please understand, I'm not going to try to convince you that this is worth taking a long or it's worth taking a short. Literally every time I analyze the charts, I'm looking for reasons not to take a trade. Okay, so please understand that. You try to flip that mentality around so you take less bad trades. But when we look at the daily here, again, the whole back-end liquidation stuff is kind of motivating me to consider the price going up versus down. So there's that. But the other thing here too is that we have, we're over the 20-day SMA, still honoring our ascending trend. The likelihood of the price staying in this ascending trend is higher because we are maintaining that. We are also still above 50 in the RSI. Stochastic is pulling back down, obviously, letting us know we have good momentum. The money flow index is still quite high, even though it is tapering off. it being above the RSI tells me there's more strength and more potential for the price to go higher from here, or at least pivot and bounce off the 165 level. Same thing here with the MACD. This is kind of controversial, if you will, because it's letting us know we have a shift in momentum occurring and the price action could come down a lot lower. So once more, hence the reason why 160 is probably a better consideration for a long, but that really just depends on what Bitcoin does. Bitcoin is having trouble maintaining 70,000, and if it closes closer to like 69 or just say 68.5, it's 0.618 fib level, then I do think Solana will pull back to that 160 range. So those are just some thoughts there. But needless to say, the daily time frame here is still looking it's like neutral to bullish. Bitcoin's the same thing too as well, where the overall trend is still good, but we're seeing some cracks in the glass, some reason why the price action may continue further down, at least tentatively. I do think Bitcoin's hitting its tentative bottom between 69 and 68.5. That's kind of an area of confluence, and more likely than not, we're going to see the price hang out there or recover from there. That being said, a lot of this hinges on, Solana's success hinges on Bitcoin too, since I feel like we're going to see a slight pullback from Bitcoin, but also more likely to increase. There's a reason for, being kind of careful with Solana too. Okay, now that seems like a circular conversation. Let's recap here and kind of see what's going on the 4 hour. We're below the 50, the 20-day, and the 100-day SMA, right? So they're generally unfavorable. Same thing with the 200-day SMA. It's traveling behind, but that's at the 156. Potentially going to be at 160 here in a few days. That's essentially a good area to be above. Breaking below the 200-day SMA, I would say, would be a pretty bearish scenario. I don't think we're going to see that unless Bitcoin runs towards 67, 65K. I hate to even throw those words out there because everybody is so crazy bullish right now. But the truth is, what goes up must come down. We took some nice profits on our 3 trades this last couple days, mainly because we were patient, we found the right entry, and the truth is we didn't use high leverage. We probably would have got liquidated on a couple of those trades if we'd used anything larger than 5x leverage. So please use low leverage, folks. You're gonna realize in the long run it's way better to be able to have control over your trades and not have to worry and stress over sleeping at night because you're gonna be liquidated. Like, liquidation never occurs for us. It just doesn't happen, okay? Anyways, we are at this perfect little pivot point. This is a place in which I commonly will like to buy the dip. And what I mean by that is when you hit 30 on the RSI and 20 on the money flow index, that's like a sweet spot. It's, for some reason, it almost always causes the price action to reverse and launch, mainly because there's a key level support here, where also the mentality of the RSI here on the 4 hour time frame for people is that it's a good value now. We haven't seen 165 in a long time, and we want to buy it now. That's essentially what the RSI is telling people. And then you have that in combination with the money flow index being so low that people have sold, they can't sell anymore, i.e. too much liquidation delta to the downside, and the price is more likely to recover. So this, in combination with liquidation, is a really strong contributing factor to the likelihood of this price action recovering. Again, I'll probably be wrong on this. I've been wrong plenty of times, but generally speaking, I don't like recommending a long position in a descending trend. But with Bitcoin kind of stabilizing at the 69 to 70K range, Solana kind of holding this level, that being a factor, there's a lot of reasons why it may be advantageous to consider a long if you watch it close, and make sure you don't have any egregious or outrageous take profit targets. So taking a look at the hourly though, this is going to confirm bearish sentiment, okay? So to clarify, lagging spans free and clear, that's generally not a good sign for a long. Same thing here as well. We can see the intersection of conversion line and baseline, basically telling us that the Solana wants to have momentum, but it doesn't have it. It got fizzled out with this pullback. There is a fair value gap here upwards about 170, so that may be a solid consideration for a take profit target. And then of course we're below the cloud, which is running concurrent with this descending trend. So the general consensus here is that it would probably not be advantageous to take a long with Solana on the smaller time frames. But the 4 hour time frame showing there's a decent amount of confluence. A lot of the back end stuff is kind of letting us know. The more subtle things that you don't normally see on the charts are telling us that the reversal would make sense here. So again, if you do end up taking along, just be careful with it. Obviously, this pump and dump here from Bitcoin, it really wasn't a pump and dump, but it was a pretty significant dump and a low volume increase that led me to believe that the price was due to correct itself. If you take a look here, I did highlight that with the low volume being very untrustworthy for Bitcoin. So things are working the way that it should at this point. So once more, if you take along with Solana, just make sure that you watch it close. You expect it to pull back perhaps even further. Once again, consider entry around 165 and 160. Those are two solid considerations for longs, just from a spot trading perspective. But from a high leverage trading perspective, absolutely do not do that. Okay. Cool. I hope that makes sense and I described that correctly. I'll go and post a playout chart here on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord shortly. Thanks so much again for the awesome support and always hitting that like button, commenting below if you get a chance. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Have a good rest of your day. We'll see you soon.